Hello, dear students. Welcome to the Bajirao IS Academy. Today is 27th December, and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So, in today's session, we are going to cover three important editorial. The first editorial is related to the 2024 outlook for the world. Here, we will be discussing about geopolitical challenge that occurred in 2023 and whether these geopolitical challenges will continue in 2024. We are going to analyze it. We can give you numerous examples like the Russia Ukraine war, like the Israel Hamas conflict. So these are like geopolitical challenge, and this can extend in 2024. So you can imagine whether the peace will prevail or the geopolitical crisis is going to dominate in 2024. Then further, we will shift to the second editorial where we will be discussing about a new economics for inclusive growth. Here, we will be understanding about inclusive growth, and apart from that, despite we leapfrogged from agricultural to directly the services sector so that the employment can be generated, but now we are seeing that our country is facing employment crisis. So why this is happening and how it can be improved? Is there any suggestion regarding new economic model so that the majority of the population in India who are facing the employment crisis, specifically in the rural India, so any solution is there? We all are going to analyze it. Then we will shifting to the last article where we will be discussing that the recent incidents which is happening in the parliament, and apart from that the suspension of MPs, and these are leading to the like ending of the political accountability to the executive. How? Because when we talk about opposition MPs, so they are very crucial for questioning the policy, the bills. But if these peoples are absent from the parliament, who will ask the question? Do you ask any question from MPs? No. So who asks the question? The opposition MP. And let's say if these people are not available, so the government can do can pass any bill that they want without any constructive criticism. So in parliament, constructive criticism plays a very important role. So that is the article we are going to discuss. So let's now shift to the first article. But before that, if you hadn't subscribed our channel, if you are new to our channel, please do like, share, subscribe, and also share to your friend circle. So when we talk about the first editorial, you can relate it with GS paper 2. So when we talk about 2023, so in 2023, you may have seen many geopolitical crises occurring in the world, and we have various examples. Like from the beginning of 2023, we have Russia Ukraine war, and apart from that, we are seeing like Russia USA relation crisis, and apart from that, USA China crisis with respect to the trade relation, economic relation, or the diplomatic relation. But in the recent incident, we have seen like Israel Hamas conflict after October 7 attack. So this was like recent inclusion of geopolitical crisis. Now, why I am telling you the geopolitical crisis? Because whatever incident we have seen in the example, they have the interlinkages with other nation as well, like in the Russia Ukraine war. So it is not like only Russia and Ukraine are involved. Apart from that, the western countries are getting involved, and apart from that, there have a global repercussions in the global world. So that is the point. We need to understand the geopolitical context with respect to the global world. So geopolitical. Geo means the location, the geography. Political means the political system, the different ideology the world have, the nation have. And because of the differences, because of the distinction between location, the ideology, even what you can include the social angle, the economic angle. So there is a chances of conflict of interest, like the powerful nation wants to dominate at the global level. So to maintain their domination, to maintain like no one can disturb me, no one can disturb our domination. So these nations try to have fightings, whether it can be directly or indirectly, and numerous examples you can relate with these incidents from the past till present. So whatever the fightings occurred at the global level, there is a important point to note that domination played a very important role, because the world power always wanted to have a domination, whether it can be the Britain during the colonial era, or whether it can be the USA, or whether it can be the Russia, formerly USSR. Okay, so that is the thing I wanted to highlight. And look, who is fighting? Who is coming into the conflict? Those nations who earlier set up the rule based international order. But now these nations, like, they are disturbing their rule based international order. And what do you mean by rule based international order? It's like the world will be governed based on rules and regulations. Okay. And you know that there are international agencies like United Nations. Apart from that, there are various conventions like United Nations laws on Convention of Sea. So many more regulations, rules are there. So the world, the global governance should be controlled, regulated by these provisions and laws. But we are seeing the crisis. We have seen numerous examples like Russia-Ukraine war, Middle East tension, and when we talk about the Middle East tension, you remember that not only Israel, Hamas is indulged into the conflict, but the influence of Western nations, the Arab countries, the Iran, the militia, all are like participating directly or indirectly, and these are disturbing peace, security in these region. And apart from that, there have the indirect influence to other nation as well, to other country as well. And who suffers? The humanity suffers. Okay, so that is the thing. So geopolitical shifting is there, and we are seeing that, like, with respect to Iran, Russia, China, mix up is going to occur. And you know that the geopolitical context, like let's say USA and China is against with respect to each other, and Russia and China is like they are collaborating to each other because both have enemy relations with USA. So that is like dusman ka dusman dost. So this philosophy works in the international order as well. Okay, and hence we are seeing that many parties are getting involved in the West Asia, and apart from that, the nexus between Iran, Russia, and China is also happening. And when we talk about with respect to India, so what is the interest? What is the situation which is in India with respect to 2023? So we have seen like India China conflict, like Ladakh standoff, Arunachal standoff, many more things we have seen. So what we are seeing, like China is becoming aggressive as well, and there is, well, though less chance that India and China will be directly on confrontation, because directly coming to the confrontation do not have end of the problem, but it multiplies into numerous problem and challenge. But what we are seeing, like Russia and China are coming closer, their bonds are becoming stronger, and this can be a challenge for India. Okay, like it can impact India's accessibility to Central Asia, which is very important. Accessibility or the location for various materials from Central Asia to India, and you should tell me why. And apart from that, there is a disturbance in the relations with Afghanistan due to the regime change. Okay, and what we are seeing with our neighboring country like Bangladesh, Nepal, and Maldives specifically, when the presidential election occurred, and here the President Muju come into the power, and they are pro-Chinese and they are under the influence of China. So this can affect the Indian Ocean policy, Indo-Pacific policy, and can disturb the collaboration. Okay, so that is the thing. But this was like external challenges. But now internal dynamics are also becoming unpopular, in the sense like we have conflict between center and the state, the tensions is rising, and we have seen many examples, articles regarding the intrusion of governor, like withholding the bills, and this matter also went to the Supreme Court as well. And apart from that, the political leaders, the party, they place vote bank politics based on caste line, religious line. So this also degrades the societal harmony amongst the people. And nowadays, with the help of social media and the political leadership, there is increased social engineering and social fragmentation, and these are being utilized in dividing social group as well. And you have to tell me, what do you mean by social engineering? Let's I try to make you understand. Like in social engineering, your mindset gets changed, and this changes is via a certain process. It can be like giving you the content so that your perception can be molded, your perception may be changed. Suppose you are like interested in a single political party, okay, and you are in the social media, it can be any platform. So via algorithm, the social media can put you lots of video that attracts you because you likes that party. So what happens, your social engineering is occurring, your perception is getting strengthened based on that political party, and you will not hear any criticism of that party. And you know that in political party always there is a criticism and there is always a positive side, so we are not able to take neutral stance. So that is the point. And for a student, there should be neutrality, the neutrality should be maintained, okay, because for a student you can better judge what is good, what is bad, if you are neutral to a stand, and then you can take a stand. So that is the point I highlighted here. Also, there is rising concerns about electoral autocracy and lack of debate, okay, and there is also increasing biasness towards unitary aspects of the constitution, like we have already told you about governors influence, and this is leading to centralization of authority as well. Apart from that, the central agency, like they are interfering much more in the opposition party state rather than the same state having the same party. And also we are seeing the parliamentary disarray, like opposition suspension and security breach. We have seen these incidents. So what we are seeing, like we should have a collaboration between center and the state, because our internal dynamics should be like very much strong to have the proper framework towards development progress of the holistic society. But we are seeing the growing tensions between the center and state, and that is not good for a country like India, because it can cause damage to our social unity, okay. So there is a conclusion like rethinking the center state relation is needed, and we need to recognize that the center is stronger when the states are strong. So that is the philosophy, that is the end of this article. Hope you enjoyed it better. Now we are shifting to the second article, and you can relate with GS paper 3. So basically, when we talk about India's current economic scenario, although the GDP data, the various economic data published by various organizations is very good and very well performing, but when we talk about the employment status, it's not very good. India is facing the employment crisis. Although we have many population who are graduates, postgraduates, PhD holder, but they are not getting employment. And this is like having the formal degree. Can you imagine those person who do not have the formal degree? So what will be their status? So it needs to be analyzed. Okay. So why this employment crisis occurred? It's all because initially when India got independence, we were agriculturally dominant country. Then we directly shifted to the services sector by sidelining the manufacturing sector. And this was a big criticism regarding the economic policy, that we were not able to give the manufacturing a well position in India to grow, and that led to the employment crisis. And we imagine that in the coming future, the service sector may cover up the manufacturing crisis or the manufacturing job crisis. But nowadays, we are seeing that the reality is different. Even in the services sector, people having good skills, computer knowledge, soft skill, they are performing better, they are improving themselves, but that population is very minute. And you can imagine that our most of the population resides in rural area. About 70% population, they do not have that much skill, they do not have like industrial led college university collaboration. So the skills do benefited little sections of the people, but not to the majority of the people, we can see. And we have the evidence as well, like 60% of the Indians classified as economically weaker section. That means these persons are economically very backward, and they in the future may do not have that much money to have an investment to set up manufacturing base or to earn good lifestyle. We can imagine it. Okay. And now we are also seeing that farmers themselves face the crisis, and apart from that, informal sectors wants fair wage, the social security. Now I have a task for you. Just find out the wages of a worker working under Manrega scheme. You will just imagine how less they are paid. Okay. So definitely when we compare to the China, so China when it started its journey after independence, so they promoted manufacturing at a broader level, and this gave huge employment opportunity to the population of Chinese people. And now China is referred as manufacturing base, the factory of the world, all about products, whether it is a smartphone, whether it is like the cosmetics and many more things. These are like produced by the China, exported by the China, earned by the Chinese people, and they have a huge foreign investment, the foreign base, foreign reserve, and they utilize it for their strategic defense and many more purpose. So that is the thing. But India suffered this manufacturing crisis and the mismatch in terms of skills, jobs, and incomes when we try to say about the service sector. Why? Because when we talk about the skills, so these skills related to the services will be like delivered to those who have the computer knowledge, who have the knowledge regarding the internet, regarding the digital marketing, digital content creation. But in rural area, there is lack of digital connectivity, there is lack of digital literacy. So digital divide is very much, and we are thinking like these skills will be given to them. So it's like quite delayed, because first of all connectivity needs to be ensured, and after all the literacy, the digital literacy should also be there. Otherwise they can use as a consumer, they can utilize the mobile phone and the other services as a consumer, but not as a producer, but not as a contributor to the economic activity. That is the important point we need to understand. Okay. So the highest end skills investment haven't translated into decent jobs for the masses, and we have the example like success of IITs in the software, but limited job creation in the rural population, which I highlighted. So initially we have like approach towards the economy, we have different models towards our economic development, and there is a quote you can remember as well, and you can use for the mains answer writing, like Adair Turner. They said that too much reality is being left out of the economist model. That means whatever models we have applied, we have just presumed it and we have neglected many more things. So that is like reality versus imagination. So we have given much more value to imagination, but not to the reality. But what the economic models needed, the reality. And the reality is that India do applied the services sector concept, but the models itself is challenging India in terms of the employment, in terms of opportunity. Okay, so we need to have ensure like in learning and capacity development among the population, and for that we need to rethink our development strategy. And here local manufacturing should be promoted. Local manufacturing like manufacturing or the food processing institutions should be established, should be promoted in adjacent to the village, in adjacent to the locality, so that people should not migrate to the different district, to the different urban location for the jobs. Okay, like people, poor people in the rural population, let's say they are a farmer. Okay, so is food processing industry got established here, so what will happen? These people can shift to this job like food processing job, and here they will be getting job, they will be getting income. And if we have interlinked the market, so definitely good prices will come, good income will come, and we can have a escape from poverty to these population, and this will benefit to many of the population living in rural area, because majority of the population we have in the rural area. Okay, so the proximity matters. Local manufacturing and value addition close to the farms create jobs and reduces the living cost as well. So we have the examples, and such enterprise add value to the agricultural commodity locally. So we need to have an inclusive and sustainable development, and this policy that we have talked to you. Okay, like localization of the manufacturing of the food processing. So it will promote the inclusive and sustainable development. Inclusive means what? Like the weaker section, the marginalized section should be given the chance to participate in the economic activity. So that is the inclusiveness. So that will lead to the growth of not only the rich population, but also the poorer population, the marginalized population. And India cannot afford to neglect its small scale and informal manufacturing, because majority of the manufacturing which occurs in India is basically from the informal sector. And tell me the difference between informal versus formal sector. So make for India, make in India, and we need to have a domestic manufacturing to be promoted here. So that is the end of the article. And also there is a issue like the states have the limited financial capacity, because state do not have that much power to generate revenue from the tax. Okay, so there need to have a collaboration from the center as well. Okay, so that their capacity needs to be enhanced. And here we should have an investment over FDI that promotes more employment. Okay, FDI can be like in the sector that like do not creates mass employment, but if FDI, foreign direct investment, comes in that sector which have the potential to create mass employment, so FDI in these sectors need to be promoted. For that, rules and regulations needs to have a orientation that promotes the FDI in these mass employment generating sector. And apart from that, policy makers must reimagine the path for India's growth. So that is the end of the article. Hope you enjoyed. Now we are shifting to the last article that can be covered on the GS paper 2. So basically what this article talks, like recently the winter session concluded, and you can see that only 18 days winter session was there. And in this winter session we have seen like suspension of MP, the incident of parliamentary breaches. So many more time was taken or covered by these incident as well. So what we have seen, like the suspension of MP, and it is not like 1 or 2 MP, it's like 146 MP, 100 from Lok Sabha, 46 from Rajya Sabha. So these MP plays a very important role to have a parliamentary debate, discussion, constructive criticism, suggestion. Okay, but if let's say these MPs are not there, who will criticize the government over the policy, who will try to suggest some reforms? So there is very less chance that government will be like accountable to the parliament, to the Lok Sabha, because the opposition members are not there to question, to counter question the bills, the provisions. Okay, so that is the thing. And hence we can see here that the three important bills which is very important and can have long-term repercussions, like criminal code of country, IPC, CRPC, okay, and also the regulation of telecommunication bill, that is concerned with the privacy, okay, and appointment of the election commission. So what we have seen here, like these were passed so easily because there was no members who can oppose, who can counter question these bills, and also the committee referrals was also lacking here. So that is the thing. So there are concerns which are rising, like it equates numerical majority with logical and moral infallibility. Now you have to understand that in parliament the present government has the majority, okay, but also there is a role of opposition party, but the opposition party or the members are absent, are like suspended. So it's like moral infallibility. And what do you mean by moral infallibility? Like morally we are infallible, it seems to be like that. And it also evaded the executive accountability, and also there is like low parliamentary debate and discussions here. And it also reflects that the presiding officer lacked the requisite like impartiality. So that is the thing we have discussed in the article. Hope you enjoyed it. And today is the end of the session. And before ending our session, we have a questions for you for the prelims that was asked in previous paper. To try to solve it, pause the video and give your answer to the comment section in the chat box, and we will be replying that. So thank you friends, thank you very much for the participation. If you like this initiative, if you enjoyed this initiative, please do share, subscribe, and also spread positivity. Thank you friends, have a nice day.